ultimately, it's down to judges to actually make that call. And this was never better, demonstrated to me with a case called Eilert versus Mitson, which was a famous case. Daily Mail ran loads on it. Eilert was...
You love the Daily Mail,
I've had 2 headlines in the Daily Mail with cases I've had. One was, I think, man leaves his dinky toys to wife and nothing else, something like that. Anyway, they kind of ran with it. But in terms of where I am... Sorry,
Eilert versus Mitchell?
Yeah, Eilert versus Mitson. Thank you, is a case where £500,000 estate, she dies, had no relationship with one daughter. This one daughter was living in supported accommodation. She had a number of kids herself, didn't get on, and she got left nothing. So she left £500,000 all to a charity. She then got a barrister in Leeds, actually, a chap called John Collins, who's now dead, sadly. He took it on as a pro bono. So said, look, I'm going to try and get you something. Even though you're an adult and an independently financial, testamentary freedom, I'm going to give it a go. So he gave it a go. And he won at the court of first instance 50 grand for her. So 10%, he got 50 grand. Result, actually, considering it's not been done before. The problem is that he turned down an offer that was more than that before trial. And as a result, if you turn down an offer that you don't bid at trial, then you are responsible for the offerer's costs from the date of that offer all the way through to trial. So what happened is he gained 50 to lose about, I don't know how much it was, but it'll have been more than 50. No. So it was a negative number. So he had no choice but to appeal. Now, the lawyer that actually, the judge that made that judgment about 50 grand just looked at it and said, I think it seems about fair, 50 grand. So when it went to the next appeal court, both sides appealed. One appealed saying I need more because I'd not beaten the offer. The other one says, well, actually, we're going to say you shouldn't have had it in the first place. They did the second appeal first and rejected it and said it's discretion of the judge. That judge decides. Second appeal came through and we as lawyers were expecting it to be struck out because nobody was getting these awards coming through. £180,000 was ordered. This judge decided that actually they needed 180 as reasonable financial provision. Again, comes back to this idea
3 times, 4
how the hell
times,
do you know? That then gets appealed by the charities to the Supreme Court. And in fact, by this stage, it's televised. So we can all watch the Supreme Court dealing with it. That's how exciting my Saturday nights are. Watching that, and the same barrister had run it, the pro bono guy, all the way through. He can be seen on the TV. And the Supreme Court turned around and said, 1, 180 is too much. 2, the original offer of £50,000 was fine. It was the discretion of the judge. We're not going to interfere with it. Back to the original order, 50 grand. It took 10 years. The legal costs involved, reportedly, over £1 million.
No.
To argue about a 50, and you were exactly back where you were at the beginning 10 years ago.
Well, you're negative.
So she got 50 grand. But apparently what happened with the costs is they became such an important point is that charities, and again, I think this is right, decided that they would fund it on both sides of cost because it was so important because they were worried about losing money coming to them, I think, was the idea behind it.
Why did charities fund it? Because they want some kind of precedent of
I think, or not a precedent. So what they didn't want is charitable gifts, because some of the comments that were made in the first instance, the second instance, certainly the second court, is because there was no real connection between mum and charity, is that she just literally picked the charity out of a book because it could go anywhere as long as it didn't go to the daughter.
Right.
And they thought that was important, whereas the Supreme Court didn't take that view and said you can't do that. And the reason why the charities, I think, probably argued it was because they don't want that sitting on a case where it says you need a connection to the charity of some sort. Because most of us, we're giving to charity, you might have a connection if someone's died, Macmillan Nurses or whatever. But a lot of people pick 4, 5, list them all, Donkey Sanctuary, whoever it is. No connection, but I just like the idea of it. Whatever it is.
Great idea.
Or I'm covering my backside, so I'm going to give something to every religious charity, all 7 or 8. And I'll cover all bases, 10 grand to each of them. One of them's going to be right, hopefully, and away we go. So it's that kind of idea. So valuing is really difficult.
That was a clip from our full-length conversation with Martin Holdsworth, who specialises in inheritance disputes, and you can watch the full thing right here.